here is also pretty cool because if they want looking to go late.
And we'll see if they can do that, right? I know we're going to see a very tanky Zach. He might want to dodge Spirit Visage for a while because he wants to buy armor against the rest of the team comp. But Aphelios is very squishy, and so many of these champions have backline access. Broken Blade Set can just ult the Zach into backline. Gragas can reach, the Aurelia can reach. MF can kind of reach a little bit as well. I would be afraid for Wild Turtle here. He could definitely be attacked, and with one of the big carries gone, I think TSM can navigate the team fights that way. As you mentioned, it's up-tempo. They've got to be the ones who are proactive, who find those picks, who find those initiations, and we'll see if they can do it. TSM coming off a win off the previously undefeated Cloud9. FlyQuest off an uncharacteristic loss to Evil Geniuses. A battle for second place on the line right now.
And to be completely honest with you, Freak, I did not expect TSM to beat Cloud9. I don't think a lot of people really, truly expected them to beat Cloud9.
No one should have.
And the year has been so up and down for TSM. It hasn't been like 2-0-0-2, 2-0-0-2. It's actually been they started 0-2, they won 4 in a row, they lost 2 in a row, they won 2 in a row, they lost 2 in a row, and it almost looked like they were going to lose 4 because no one expected them to beat Cloud9. That would have moved them to 6 and 7. And then you're thinking, hey, this team on a 3-game losing streak, can they really beat what was the 8 and 4 FlyQuest? So the narrative flip that TSM could potentially make this week, where coming into week 7, it was if they don't beat Cloud9 and FlyQuest, the top 2 teams in the league, they would have been 6 and 8, and maybe even outside the playoff picture with 2 weeks to go, needing to kind of outperform. Now they have an opportunity to 2-0 this week against the 2 other best teams in the LCS and really be in that strong position, tied for second with 4 games left.
And then not in the game, I want to add one more team to that list, which is 100 Thieves, who have already ended their week 7 at 7 and 7, which puts them at 3rd place if TSM drops this. Right? They'd be tied for 3rd with a drop. TSM obviously doing reasonably well, but that's kind of the state of the standings where 3rd place is 50-50, essentially, in the league right now based on results. So, you know, asterisk pending how this game goes. Early pushing as, generally speaking, I think Aphelios wins almost every level 1 laning duel with the sniper damage and the range on it. So expecting Turtle to have the push. Aurelia and mid going to be exciting to watch. Going from Zillion one game to Aurelia the next. Bjerg's definitely a wide pool of champions to play.
Yeah, and as we talked about right at the end of Champ Select, let's just kind of reset what our expectations are coming into this game. The reason Set is so often banned and so often just first picked on blue side is he just wins these matchups against Aatrox. People pick Aatrox into him because they can kind of handle it, but this lane position is very common because Aatrox actually can't step up to Set. So look to see how much Broken Blade can win this lane by.
That was greedy.
He took a church shot, definitely greedy. Since it's very difficult to gank as a Zac, right? Like, ganking a losing lane is incredibly dangerous. So then, does Dardoch camp top lane, or does he try and move mid for this duo potential of an Aurelia stunlock into a Gragas? TSM does, I think, need to win the early game at some point, so you need to keep your eyes on Dardoch and also how Santorin tries to slow him down.
Dardoch cues the camp just for regen. Very common jungle tactic. If you don't know this one, just dealing damage to a jungle monster. Turns on the Hunter's Talisman, which is like a few health per second per monster tag. So easy goes to top HP as that's a nice little play. Santorin gets the CC on the Scuttle Crab because of a ward nearby. Love that. And gonna keep within, vaguely close in farm, but Dardoch is faster early game. Santorin going for most single target camps, right? Double buff plus Romp is going to be a bit slower overall on this AoE champion. We'll see as it goes on future.
Really interesting that it was spotted out. So Dardoch actually did a start that didn't start at blue buff. It was just seen by Zach. He's trying to counter jungle it. It's a start I like, but I think we're going to see a jungle duel down by that blue buff. It's going to be a smite fight.
Well, as champions are coming over, this is going to be the battle. Ignar's already there. Hook almost lands, and that's blue reset. So
neither jungler had smite.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to get it below 500 because I don't know if the other jungler has smite.
Yeah, that also means that we've seen Santorin catch up in farm. Has to walk back across the map to get some more done, but has equalized the camp count.
For what it's worth, Zach jungle doesn't have a slower clear than Gragas necessarily. He just has fewer gank tools. So like any situation where Santorin can just be trading camps with Dardoch is a good situation for Santorin as long as he's stopping Dardoch from deciding lanes.
Yeah, one interesting thing, as I want to contrast junglers here as well, because these are two of the very best junglers in the LCS right now. Dardoch is the first blood king in the LCS. Number one, Jizuka's number two. Credit to him from EG last time. What's up?
TSM as a team has 77% first blood percentage this split.
Yeah, and then when I checked for individual players, Dardoch was the number one player for that as well. So that's really cool. And he's like, top 4 in like generic gold lead early game stats. Santorin is number 1 in early game gold leads, and it's not first blood. He's not a top 3 ganking jungler, but he's out farming every opposing jungler across the league so far. It's very interesting. They have very different styles, and so it also is emblematic of the player play style that Santorin's like, yeah, if we trade farm, that's me being positive.
And he was hoping for an opportunity there. If Biofrost would have gone aggressive, he was there for a counter gank, but didn't want to force too hard into the Misfortune. Misfortune definitely packs a punch early. It's always a little spooky to try and gank a Misfortune lane because of how much damage she does early on.
But so far, mostly trading farm back and forth. Turtle, so far in a farm lead. Some of that is to expectation. Aphelios does a good job again with the early laning. Though MF usually very good at last hitting under turret. Often you can keep yourself from dropping too much there. Early set laning lead, but there is a bigger wave for Viper to take as he stutter steps backwards, stays out of the W range. And overall, it is just a small 100 and change gold lead for TSM across their various lanes. As the Tor puts a ward down, has to battle Dardoch for this one and jumps away. He is the one who has to flinch. As Set could have walked past the tower and... Oh, they're going for the dive. Here's the TP.
3-man.
3v2. Dunks him out of turret range, but a slow into Dardoch. They knock back Bjergsen there as well. Then is it going to be enough? The W over the top, and it is. That's first blood in Dardoch. He's going to drop aggro in time onto the Bloblets. And a beautifully executed tower dive by TSM.
Play through your strong lane, and that's what TSM does with a very strong laner in set and Broken Blade. It almost looked like that was going to be stopped when Santorin got that 2-man stun, but TSM was not to be deterred. They just clean house here. So watch this dive one more time. Santorin actually catches both Dardoch and Bjergsen and delays this fight, but notice how the ult actually took Viper out of turret aggro, so the turret doesn't warm up until here, and then Broken Blade lands double true damage on top of Bjergsen's ultimate, and it's just a wash. They easily make this turret dive work, and both kills go on to Bjergsen, so he can take that gold into this mid lane matchup.
That was nothing short of impressive. I did not know that dive was going to work, but it worked so effortlessly.
Yeah, we've been doing some dive rating segments on Countdown.
10 for me.
I want to see him do that one. That is one of the best rated dives we've seen.
We didn't rate it, chat. It was one of the best dives we've seen.
Yeah, well, we don't have the cards up here, so we can't hold up numbers.
I'll hold the 1, you hold the 0?
Yeah.
That's backwards, though?
Yeah, then people are going to be like, what angle are we looking at? Why is Jack giving
Why is that a 0-1?
You need a card that says 2.
I know. Well, regardless, well done. And TSM off to a very hot start, and it continues TSM's lead of, they get first blood almost every single game. Dardoch involved in both. That was just amazing. Now as the bot lane's pushing down, it is still a farm lead for Wild Turtle, but it's now FlyQuest to come back from an early deficit.
And one last thing I'll point out about that dive is Power People had just teleported back to lane. So Bjergsen could have reset himself. I think past overly passive versions of TSM would have had just Bjergsen recall and match GPs to be like, oh yeah, I can't fall behind in this lane. instead of TPing back to lane like PoE, Bjergsen TPs top lane and makes something happen.
Well, TSM also now on the bottom side of the map. Even though there was some top lane pressure, Santorin was the one up in the top lane trying to defend. There was no Drake answer back then, so TSM picking up a lot of everything. Team that normally does forsake dragons for things like kills and tower dives and tower kills, they get to get both.
Yeah, I think that is the correct thing to do in this game. If you are a team comp, and this could be wrong, there's going to be exceptions, but I've been thinking a lot about how I think the dragon system should be playing out. I think if you're a team comp that you think gets outscaled, you should absolutely be taking early drakes, because the soul is one of the ways you can cheat your scaling.
Yeah.
Right? You can say, once I have the soul, no, I will outscale because the soul is so powerful. But conversely, if you're a team that has the scaling advantage, it's totally fine to give up a Drake and just try and take pressure elsewhere. You can give up 2, you can give up 3 sometimes, because one individual buff of each Drake doesn't end up netting that much overall power. It's really when the soul comes in. In this situation, FlyQuest wasn't actually able to trade pressure, so it's one of those things where it's like, that's not like amazing strategy, but it's not the worst thing for FlyQuest to give up an early trade.
Yeah, I would say mathematically as a very, very blunt, hold on, this is going to be just a bit of damage. As a very blunt measure, I would call a Dragon Soul worth about 4,000 gold of stats. That is very vague. It's going to depend a lot on team comp. Across the team.
Okay.
So the reason for this is a Mountain Soul is worth about 300 health, which is very easy to math out. Now, it's also effectively regen, because it comes back out of combat. Again, there's complexity here, don't get me wrong. But an easy baseline is 4K. Now we've got the chance at a fight as FlyQuest looking to contest now. Is this going to be a nice pullback? No aftershock, get him bomb rush. Finally gets the ult time, finally walks away, but still done a half HP. Power Beeble yet to use Shockwave, gets in there on a Bjergsen. No fall through just yet. Now the dunk to the back line, trying to find that single kill. Viper gets a knockup and knocked back as well, but just barely jumps away. Kills so far not coming through as TSM might look for their way out.
Oh, that hook
onto Bjergsen, jumps to the Herald, and then flashes over the wall. But that is summoners down for TSM, and FlyQuest able to go for this Herald.
And that whole time it was mostly a 4v4. It's Wild Turtle actually walked all the way up, which is why they could secure this Herald. And Kabe's not able to get plates on the bottom side, so this is a straight up win for FlyQuest once they get this Herald.
Putting back to gold deficit, but an easy smite's going to land for Santorin. We know it's going to be about 300 gold, maybe 400 gold picked up off of a Herald play. So that'll close that gap a little bit as Viper makes his way to the bot lane.
So close to killing Santorin in that fight. He escaped with a sliver of health. And the lane swap actually comes in now, so they're looking to go towards that top lane turret.
Next up, Huhi's debut on Golden Guardians. Back in the action, back in the LCS to support. See how well he can do for himself as FlyQuest and TSM fight for second place in the league right now. TSM win ties them with FlyQuest. 1-1 head-to-head, same score line. Both end their week 7 in that spot. TSM losing drops them to a tie for third with 100 Thieves. And of course, that means FlyQuest would have that solid 2-game lead with 4 to play. Means they're very likely to hold into that top 2 spot.
Yeah. I want to see once Bjergsen completes Trinity Force if he can go for solo kills. Another thing that's going to evolve in this game is how potentially strong TSM's 1-3-1 is. In which case, like a Federelia can actually 1v1 an Aatrox or an Orianna in the side lane, and Set will also be relatively unkillable by the Orianna and the Aatrox, so that could potentially give TSM a lot of mobility and choice towards the late game. But for FlyQuest, it is about stuff like the Rift Herald fight, where they can have a little bit of setup and PoE can get a good shockwave off, is what FlyQuest is going to be trying to create.
Once again, topside control. 1 minute to go until Ocean Break comes up, though, and we know TSM got the first one. As you mentioned, the idea of getting potentially outscaled, being a sort of mono damage type team. Braga is not the AP carry that forces you to buy magic resist.
Yeah, it's not a hard outscale.
Sure.
Right? There's always different degrees. It's like a spectrum of scaling,
of course,
so to speak. But this one, yeah, I can't put an exact goal value on it. The main parallel is that the last time these teams played, it was so different. Like FlyQuest was so good late game with Ornn and Yuumi, and TSM was so early game with Pantheon jungle. within their team composition. And now this Rift Herald comes up. TSM is kind of prepared. They don't want this Herald to get more than 2 plates.
Solid ult from Kave is going to knock down all the minion gold, but it's still going to be those 2 plates picked up by the Herald itself. And that is all they're going to get. So, end of the day, that Herald play was worth 420 total gold. And, you know, some time for Turtle to earn up, but there could be a re-engage. Now as Dardoch walks in, they're going to find Ignar, and he does not have a way out. Santorin, though, wants in. Ult to the top. Not going to find that kill just yet as TP's flood through, and Santorin still has to run away. Bjergsen TP's in just to get the disengage out.
Noble attempt by Ignar to save Wild Turtle from a Predator Gragas, but cost him his own life. I gotta say Biofrost ended up playing that extremely well. The stopwatch basically stalled the re-engage attempt from Santorin. Didn't allow him to find a second target with his stretching strike on Zach. I think that's still the name of it.
Yeah, pretty sure.
The Q.
Yep, to the Q.
It is, stretching strikes.
Beautifully done. TSM, though, pretty much on cooldown. Not a lot of time lost. Right away onto the Ocean Drake, going to claim that one yet again. TSM yet to lose a turret. They're undefeated in kills, and they have all the Drakes so far. TSM off to a great early start.
Yeah, watching this play one more time, you can see Sweeper comes through for Dardoch. He's ready to go. Ignar says, hey, stop! He actually has Flash, but never gets a chance to use it. It's actually a full CC lock from Body Slam into Nautilus Hook into Nautilus R. But then right there, the Ophelio Assault basically doesn't explode on both people because of the stopwatch, and the Zac stretching strikes can't land true. Perfect time.
Away. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Biofrost, definitely a strong performer. Has been a big boon to TSM here as we get a quick reconnect out of Dardoch. We'll hear what that's about in the future. But for now, it's hey, TSM fans should be happy. I mean, this team is returning to form to a certain degree. The Dardoch experiment, I think, was a huge question mark coming in. Dardoch has failed on so many teams. I mean, year after year after year, it was a broken record, and it's like, wow, TSM having problems with junglers. And they signed Dardoch with problems with teams. Name a more iconic duo. But this time, it has been working out.
Yeah, I think Dardoch has had a really interesting year. I don't think his attitude has been a part of the conversation whatsoever.
Nope.
I think it seems completely in line. TSM actually seem to have some of their best team chemistry in years. Like, if you look at the way their season has been up and down, that breaks a lot of teams. But for TSM to have that 0-2 week against Liquid and COG and then beat Cloud9 does speak well.
Yeah.
Right? To the overall team. I think Dardoch, since we have a game pause, we can talk about some tangential stuff. Like, I think Dardoch's early games have been incredible. I think he's made a decent number of mid-game mistakes, and some of his team fights have been poor. Some of them have been pop-off moments, but he's had that, like, mid-game inconsistency.
Yeah.
The whole TSM team has been inconsistent, but this game in particular, 1,500 gold lead.
What a shot.
2 Drakes.
Yep.
It is very important to moisturize.
I mean, he's like just going to town. Like, those are some moisturized. Like, that is moisture. Look at that. I will say I have a thing of chapstick in my travel backpack as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like on the airplane, like digging through, like, what do I have? Like, some chapstick, and I'll do that as well.
No, I used to not do it when I was like 17 or 18 with chapstick because I didn't like it. I was actually kind of afraid of people being like, oh yeah, you're putting up chapstick, and then like my lips would crack in the summer.
Oh yeah.
And like they would bleed. Just use chapstick if your lips are dry.
Yeah.
That's like my PSA for this individual moment.
It doesn't have to be specific chapstick. We're brand agnostic for lip moisturizers. But by the way, call us up at the LCS if you want an official lip moisturizer. We sell sponsorships on the show.
True. Okay, fair enough.
I don't know why I'm shilling for hypothetical lip moisturizer companies.
About the game, though,
yeah.
I still actually do think it's anyone's game.
I do too.
Yeah, because you can see the gold is only.
What a segue.
Yeah, I know. About the game, though, 1,500 gold different with a 2 Drake to 0. I'd heard 3 minutes for the pause. I think they're just doing a quick restart for Dardoch to get back in.
Yep.
This can be a comfortable place for FlyQuest because of the Zac Orianna. And we know how well PoE's Orianna can scale, and he's currently sitting at 10 CS per minute. So he's going to be able to power up throughout the rest of this game. And all of the stakes that we set before the game are still completely on track, where FlyQuest still has a chance to do another one of these scaling shows against TSM, 2-0 them for the season series, and be alone in second.
Yeah.
Or TSM can continue their streak of only having 2-0 or 0-2 weeks.
I mean, I think To me, it's like you just don't break streaks like that. I just think TSM's going to win this game just for that reason at all.
Sure.
And it's also the most counter logic streak as well, because this was, back when Liquid was supposed to be bad and we knew CLG was bad, that was like, oh, you're going to win those and that's going to be great. And that was the 0-2 week. They're against the top 2 teams. They're winning against these two. So that's actually very impressive overall. So it's about to get back in. This to me, I know we talked about it a little bit, the vague opinion that, okay, yeah, we think FlyQuest outscales. Just, it's kind of mono damage type. It's Orianna Felio scaling. This game doesn't feel to me like it's going to lose grip. And that's just like, vaguely it feels like TSM's playing very well, so they won't. But I feel like they're gonna remain in control.
It is obviously possible.
Yeah.
Right? That's why we need to watch the rest of the game. I think what I want to see, regardless of who wins in FlyQuest versus TSM, is the consistent challenger to C9 to like emerge.
Yeah.
Because, and this is more like an overall league thing, when C9 is 12-0, while it is super hyped to chase an 18-0 dream that was, yes, broken yesterday, and that's why it was hyped, is because the chase was so real that breaking the chase was that exciting moment. You still end up kind of losing interest in like the other 9 teams because you say, well, if they're so much better than everyone else, then what's everyone else doing? And I think TSM, at least, has been doing stuff all year. Like, even last week when they had that 0-2 and everyone was like, why do they suck? They did look like they suck on stage in some of those games, but it felt to me like they were overthinking their own strategies. They were doing these hyper-specific things, like Pantheon Tlia against FlyQuest, right? Like Kale Top against Team Liquid, like Ezreal Senna against CLG.
Yeah.
Kind of compositions that literally no one else was doing. Like they kind of needed that to get their edge. But now that they're kind of back to this stuff, Zyracon, forcing bans on Zyracon. Sure, the Irelia mid's a little bit of a curveball, but they're only doing like one curveball a game.
Yeah.
Right? One small tweak, and then everything else is standard. And I think that's making them look a lot more solid as a team.
Yeah, I think it's really important to sort of have the right amount of scope. You're like, okay, how much time do we have to test things out and be wrong? How many times are we willing to be wrong before we say, okay, let's just solidify onto a comp that works or a style that works and play there? And, TSM's look has been, okay, we're going to take about 5-6 weeks to like figure it out, go 50-50 and say, okay, we're pretty sure we know what we're good at, and we're going to kind of start converging on that style. And if TSM has figured it out, coming into week 7, and it's like, yep, here's a style that's going to beat C9, it's going to beat FlyQuest, is going to win, the last 6 games of the season, then great, it's exciting, and, I want to watch that play out.
Yeah, and it's not to discount FlyQuest. They've been an incredibly solid team, which is why they were at 8-4 and in sole possession of second. So they need to keep that solidity together, potentially even with this river fight.
Well, instantly a ton of crowd control. Drodek's going to explosive cast out as best he can, but he's still crowd controlled. Finally pops it, but Ignar gets just enough damage to the last auto attack, and now Biofrost is on the run as well. Has to flash away from what could have been a shockwave. Out of Power View's Orianna, or at least the dissonance. Is now towards back of the wall. Can't find the knockup though, so only a slow means Bio walks away.
Big time pick in the river as the Rift Herald is fairly close to respawning. That's the control that FlyQuest is looking over. When we talked kind of about Dragon Theory beforehand, a lot of times if you are the team with better team composition scaling, it's like, do you prioritize the Drakes to get set up at Rift Herald? Because if you get Rift Herald, you keep the gold close enough that you never let the other team get Dragon Soul. And it looks like that's what FlyQuest could be in position to do after killing Dardoch and getting a little bit more river control right there.
Yeah, I think it also even, to your sort of point about, the late game team that tries to get gold, the early game team that tries to get Drakes.
Yeah.
Oversimplified, but I think accurate.
Yeah.
That also kind of speaks to the fact that items tend to be multiplicative with one another in general. So if you're like, well, yeah, I scale better with crit and other things like that. It's like, well, gold is how I finish my 3rd crit item or, finish IE or whatever. And it even lines up on that axis as well. So I think there really is some, even just sort of on a pure mechanics level, emphasis or sort of push toward that being the way you play it out. Haven't seen top lane fight in a while. The last game was very exciting top lane, right? It was solo kills level 5 and then ganks all over the place. This time around, it's, there's been some pushes. There was a cool tower dive, don't get me wrong.
TP advantage for TSM, actually, so it's interesting that FlyQuest is trying to contest this. Viper has a long way to go.
Yeah, saw Biofrost trying with the Q, but Ignor's able to walk away. Once again, looking at Viper walking up, so now he's there. Will they force sets TP? There's a lot of damage already, and that's going to be Bloblets down. That's probably the cleanup as well. No fight to be had. Santorin caught out. Kabe now on the board of the kill.
Big miscommunication by FlyQuest there. You can't have your Zac flying in there when no one else is able to follow in. So TSM takes sound control of that Rift Trail. I think it's pretty big for them. Being able to get that Rift, it'll likely be able to drop and break open their first turret of the game. And they're still going to be able to set up for their third Drake and try and win a fight there. A lot of times if the other team has Rift, they can drop pressure away from you that you have to respond to get this Drake. Now they flipped it and TSM's in a powerful position.
We're going to see as the waves get cleared back and forth. TSM getting farther and farther ahead. We'll see what turrets they can knock down and what part of the base they can crack. There was finally a kill on the board, thanks to Ignar, so no perfect game anymore in the books for FlyQuest, or I guess for TSM against Fly. Let's do it and to see what comes through into this one. Does TSM retain control, or do those item spikes come through when the fights turn around? 20 seconds on the next Mountain Drake, and Bjergsen with TP is topside. Turtle without teleport cannot join, so him being up top for this long likely means they give this up. Of course, no one on FlyQuest has TP available.
Yeah, there's no Zac passive, and the Aphelios just showed top, so TSM look quite well coordinated here. Basically just show up at that Drake and kind of dare Santorin to steal it.
Ooh, that was, wow. The chance at a big play means they don't have to flash out, but that means it's even worse. They have brought Wild Turtle down. He's now around for the 5-on-5. The Drake wasn't started until he got to make his way over. But the health bars, though they're high, they're out of summoners in some cases. Another attempt for Biofrost. Cast comes down. Here's the backline access. Not going to find it just yet. Ignar, though, able to kite away. Big knocker for Santorin. It's going to be now the attempt for Broken Blade. Puts the shield up, but he is running out of health, and the peel is enough. Wild Turtle on the board now as well. The flash forward for Viper. Gonna find Kabe. Gonna find the Shockwave, and they have brought the Turtle down, and they've brought 2 kills in. FlyQuest found the team fight they wanted, tied up the gold.
What a huge moment for FlyQuest to be able to stuff Broken Blade's flank, and I think cut Bjergsen out from the fight. So we talked about that 1-3-1 TSM has and how they want to collapse down on the flanks, but Broken Blade didn't get through on one side, and also watch Bjergsen from the top. So like PoE cleared off that control ward up top. I think that stopped Bjergsen from getting in entirely. Yeah, so Bjergsen can't land the stun on PoE, and then doesn't land the Aurelia ultimate because it flies through a stopwatch. So neither solo laner get a good engage for TSM and FlyQuest clean up.
Yeah, the level 6 double kill Aurelia did, I think, literally 0 champion damage in that fight. Couldn't land a single skill shot. PoE, indeed, as you mentioned, zoned him out and then still had some follow-up in the back half of the fight. So well done to him. TSM could not find the play, and I want to reiterate the fact that Drake was alive when Turtle was seen in top lane.
Yeah.
But they cleared mid first, and maybe it's right to clear mid so you don't lose the turret. I can understand like that play out is maybe correct, but end of the day, they had a potential 5v4 at Drake, didn't take that, simply cleared mid, and that gave Turtle time to walk down.
Yeah, I can definitely think, like, look at the current gold values, look at the current double Trinity Force spike. Hey, TSM should actually look for a fight, and the Mountain Drake is what draws them towards a fight. But we saw a lot of fights in the C9 versus TSM game yesterday. Like, to be at the top level, you have to be able to throw down and win these fights. And in that last one, FlyQuest was the ones with the better execution.
Look at that mission score. Good job, Ignar. And now a fight in the bottom side yet again. Look at the burst available that Viper could maybe turn it back around. He's running away and not running fast enough. The explosive cast takes it. And that is an easy Herald pickup. Broken Blade should be getting this turret gold.
The fadeaway kill by Dardoch, hoping to kill without the ultimate. But nice 2v1 right there. Likely means a turret trade, though.
He's going to find stun to himself. Sort of going to knock down that turret, as FlyQuest now have 2 turret kills themselves. Got the solo turret in the bot lane a while ago from Viper, then he was traded back. But with that Herald, Broken Blade gets 2 turrets down to the bottom lane, so really nice stuff there. There's a lot of extra gold on set.
Yeah, once he kills that turret, he actually only has a 300 gold lead on the Aatrox. And if that means they can't rotate for this mid turret, it wouldn't end up being worth it, but it's like Kabe ends up saving the defense. We got ourselves a very close battle for second tier 3.
Yeah, this is exciting. Really, really close stuff. As FlyQuest had taken the gold lead, then it got taken back by TSM getting those extra turrets down there. As Ignar fights for vision, and now I really want to know how the mid game's going to shape up. Nice mid lane turret picked up. Once again, FlyQuest goes to the small gold boost. It'll go back and forth, right? Under 1,000, it'll constantly go switching around. Yep. Interested to see that it is a Leandry's rush here for PoE.
Yeah, this is his Ori build, actually. You and I were discussing it, actually, the last time FlyQuest was playing on PoE Orianna. He goes Leandry's, or he goes Luden's, Leandry's, and then Void Staff. He actually said, if you're interested in my rationale, please DM me.
Right, sure.
I don't think I followed up. I don't know if you did either.
No, I didn't.
I imagined it's generally good against all targets, even if it may not be fully optimal on all as well. Like, it's definitely not burst optimization because on squishies, because that would be the Oblivion Orb.
Yeah, Oblivion Death Cap would be burst optimization on squishy.
But I think this is a nice mix of still having strong Magic Pen, Leandry's poke on the Orianna, and then just a good amount of durability from the health Leandry provides.
Yeah, I did rough math on, about this point in the game, how much damage does Leandry's Burn do? If you don't CC, it's like 70 damage. It's like less good than Luden's Echo. If you do slow, like if he lands distant.
But don't you QW most of the time?
If you do, yes. Yeah, that's like if you don't CC. If you do CC, it's like 120 damage on the average target, which is roughly Luden's proc.
Yeah.
And roughly, you know, a third as much as your base spells do in the first place, which means, yeah, a QW poke is actually very good at Luden's Leandry.
And speaking of the devil, he's not going Void third. He's probably going Death Cap third with the needs large rod. Trying to track how much MR is being built. There's a decent amount with Merc Treads twice, but we didn't actually end up seeing like a Wit's End Aurelia, which sometimes you'll see into AP matchups. Instead, Bjergsen optimizing for team fighting. So
yeah,
can leave the theory crafting for later.
True.
On the items.
And regardless, we are in a very, very tight game now. We're in a close one as wards are taken down, and we're already back to the next Mountain Drake spawning. TSM, we'll see if they can get control. They lost their first major team fight at the last one. FlyQuest got a clean 2-for-0 plus their first Drake of the game. And I wonder if that changed everything around. Bjergsen is sitting in the top side. Both those champions have teleports. And Zach looking for a little play here. Can't quite find Dardoch.
Looks like the waves are slightly in favor of FlyQuest. Like Broken Blade's going to want to catch that gold. Nice initiation.
That's ult over the top. Last going away. This is going to be the fight, though. Big tanky bio Frosty Pop Stone Plate. A dunk in for Broken Blade, but he is a little bit alone. Still, almost hit the damage of Wild Turtle. Flash follow nearly takes him down, but it's still FlyQuest finding the kite. They get away. Ignar being autoed by Bjergsen cannot find the hook. And a second kill comes through from Dardoch. So TSM get the 2-for-1 this time around. Broken
Blade was a monster in that fight. I was watching Bjergsen run around the Drake pit slowly as Broken Blade nearly solo killed Turtle with the whole team trying to peel for him. A big fight win for TSM there. Can't wait to see it again.
And it means TSM's on soul point.
Yeah.
30 minutes in, they can get this Mountain Soul, and that's going to be really powerful.
Yeah, so the hook initiation by Ignar is the green light for them to go. Santorin doesn't get to jump into the fight, which is always a bit weird, so he doesn't get the damage. But, like, look at Broken Blade just nearly solo out Wild Turtle as Bjergsen does arrive. But, like, Bjergsen doesn't even ult in this fight as they trade kills. Nice by Bifrost to flash out of that shockwave right at the end, but 2-for-1 for TSM in, like, a 4.5v5, basically.
All right, that's going to look good for them then. If they are able to kind of get into the 25-minute mark, go to equal gold, and fight it cleanly, that's going to feel pretty comfortable. You see Kabe already on 2.5 major items. Same thing for Wild Turtle there. For now, I do like Misfortune a lot. I think when you get to the 4 to 5 item spot, that's when you really start to like Aphelios a lot more. But I like mid-game MF a ton. I think they're still going to have very similar damage contributions here. And I'm kind of waiting for the next major team fight to happen because I feel like the silent split push is mostly for wave control. I think we're fairly low impact on plays in this mid game.
Yeah, I think that last fight does show just right now kind of the power of Broken Blade set. Not having Flash is going to be big, and FlyQuest needs to devote a lot of resources to peeling out, or you just get a cleaner initiation onto Kabe. Like, if Zach can land on Kabe, if they could somehow get his Flash, that seems like the way they win these fights. And that's not even accounting for Bjergsen's Aurelia. Like, the last 2 fights, Bjergsen hasn't really been involved. So I do wonder, like, how a flashless, healless, exhaustless team, when you look at Wild Turtle and Ignar, can deal with an actual well-coordinated dive from Aurelia's set. That's the biggest thing FlyQuest needs to guard against, is preventing that flank from happening.
He wants to make the play as products go over the wall. Cast, good flash by PoE. Reacts in time. That would have been a kill if he didn't press that R. Or press, I guess, D in this case.
Dead even gold.
Yeah.
Until now.
Gold lead. TSM going to feel comfortable as Bjergsen's split pushing is working, and both teams just jumping back and forth. The gold leads have never been very large on either side. Bought back pretty cleanly. Easy wave clear for in front of Ophelia. That's going to run out soon.
Yeah, fitting battle for second. I think TSM is mostly just saying, all right, let's hope the Baron doesn't become a thing. Let's not get picked off, and let's win this Mountain Soul fight. Because a lot of it is going to be, like, if we're thinking about flanks, Broken Blade has his teleport. So, like, can TSM get any wards in this area kind of behind the pit so that when they're there, they can run around and find a fight? Because currently the whole river is actually controlled by FlyQuest wards, which is why Dardoch is kind of down here now, hoping to get a little bit of vision back.
Running through a ward, but unperturbed. No one's going to really stop him, even though Santorin's right there. He's not willing to take the fight. Control ward goes down. 1.5 minutes till Mountain Soul. And that means FlyQuest have to feel the pressure. They've got to recall in the next 30 to 40 seconds, stack up a control wards, and actually fight for this river. I think TSM otherwise gets so far ahead, it'll be very difficult to win that fight. PoE's Shockwave gets almost nullified by that Mountain Shield. Want to point out, though, that his death cap is done. He's been farming very, very well. 322 CS before 30 minutes in. Most players don't have death cap done by then, but when you farm efficiently, you get those spikes in time for these battles. Now we're only 1 minute away as Viper knows he won't have TP in time for that one. He can't be a dedicated top laner. He's got to take the recall and maybe come out the mid lane. Maybe PoE can play that one.
Viper kind of needs to be elsewhere right now, but this is the 360 CS 3 kill Aurelia threat. Like, no one can 1v1 that champ in a side lane right now, so it's keeping FlyQuest a little bit on the back foot.
Yeah.
But then again, the death cap, you know, Phantom Dancer Aphelios in the mid lane is keeping it back. Really interesting, Wild Turtle didn't go Hurricane. It's a huge DPS loss, but he needs that lifeline passive to keep him alive from the dive.
Yeah, I mean, Aurelia is so threatening, right? A lot of damage there, and Bjergsen, maybe the man of the match, got that early double kill. He has been finding some success in fights, but sometimes he's been zoned out. 10 seconds now on the Mountain Drake. Bjergsen's there with a squad, level 17.
All right, eyes on Bjergsen to see if he can find a flank, and eyes on Turtle to see if TSM can get him. He actually has 2 really powerful guns for this fight.
All right, Q forward finds the tank. He's going to be safe, but Santorin burns the
big.
ultimate. Could not find the follow-through on a Biofrost, and that is so much less threat now from Santorin.
Bjergsen's still looking for a flank, but he will be on a ward, so FlyQuest knows he's there.
Viper marks it. You can see Viper sitting topside.
He has no ult.
Here comes the ult of the backline. Decent damage flash for Broken Blade. Punch to the backline. Can't find that just yet. Burns stopwatch. A flash away for Turtle. But Bjergsen might find him. Gets the stun. Gets the mark. Gets 1. Gets 2. Bjergsen assassinates the backline. And the follow-up is there. The Mountain Drake drops, and TSM absolutely crushed that fight.
That's the fight TSM has been waiting 31 minutes for. Broken Blade makes a bunch of noise, burns everything in the team fight, and then Bjergsen cleans up. And that cleanup was pretty sweet. The way he marked multiple targets, bounced back and forth between both of the FlyQuest carries was a thing of beauty.
The goal was reached backline. Broken Blade keeps trying. Bjergsen keeps trying. Biofrost aims the backline as well. And the target selection has been working. Bjergsen a 1v2. Ooh. Nice hook by Ignar, but I feel like he wins this anyway.
He's got to stand there.
Because he's got a teammate nearby. So Viper can walk forward, but guess what? Biofrost is here, finds to slow the chasing in, but I'm still not sure it's going to be enough damage.
Well, the rest of them are coming. He can't. He can't
he can do that. He can get the first kill picked up. Now what's the chase like? Well,
is he really?
Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. He's a 5-0 Aurelia, chat. He's fine.
Apparently, he's a 6-0 Aurelia now.
Oh, he is, yeah.
It looked like he was going to get baited into the rest of the FlyQuest team coming from base, but he just kind of slips out of it. Now, he's created this 5v4 for TSM to maybe end the game.
Forward. Mid lane tier 2 is gone. Ignar's still dead for 12 seconds. Dardoch has to burn stopwatch to get away, but that's a pullback. Broken Blade again finds the setup. Base breakers him in. And that's a nice one right there. Middle inhibitor cracked now. And look at that TSM willing to keep pushing forward. A quick recall for items. Titanic Hydra picked up, and Bjergsen's here to try to close the game out. Viper's days are numbered. Guardian Angel pop. There's the dunk into the back line. They have caught yet another attempt as Centauran is dropped now as well. Onto the fountain goes Wild Turtle, and Bjergsen might just lose the GA, but no! He's gonna knock down his former AD carry. Nothing personal, kid. Double kill comes in for Kave there as well. And TSM just too well the other top two teams in the league. Who's the top dog now?
TSM with the statement in Week 7, going 2-0 against the previously undefeated Cloud9 and the previously second place FlyQuest. Now when you take a look, you see TSM tied for second at 8-6 with FlyQuest, but when you ask the question, who's got the momentum?
Yeah.
It's definitely TSM.
6 LCS championships for TSM long term. And people were wondering when that form was coming back. It's been a drought for the jerseys in black and white. But you take down Cloud9 convincingly, you take down FlyQuest in a pretty strong game, and you can put yourselves, all right, maybe it's us again.
Yeah, and just a quick look at Bjergsen's week. 7-0-11 on Zillion, and sure, he missed a flank or two in the mid-game. 7-0-5 on Aurelia right here, so 14-0-16.